The Matrix is matrixing out. It's the holla hell, holodecks for so holla paradise for so holla hell for other people, like me. It's all glitchy. It's all good. We got the rain. You got the freak. What's the frequency? Can innocent? You got the glitching. The glitching is glitching. It's the three-dimensional digital construct Archon nightmare thing.
Greetings, knitting Nazis, fiber fascists, crochet bourgeoisie. Welcome to A Child's Guide to Online Discussion. I will be your host, not Governor Patrick Smith. Today, we are going to achieve the pinnacle of our stated goal of being inclusive by banning anyone who disagrees with us from the stream. That way, we can be perfectly inclusive of everyone by banning people. We're inclusive, I promise. Actually, this is going to be kind of a dual stream. I want to cover this story about the knitting Nazis. And then hopefully we have enough time in 15 minutes or so. And then after that, we're going to cut the stream off to all of the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We're going to shut all that down except for DLive. And then we're going to have like a chill hangout stream. We're going to bring anybody that wants to come on from our Discord server, and we're going to hang out, and we're going to watch the Democratic presidential debates together, talk about whatever comes up, make fun of the people vying for power over us, and hang out. The reason why we have to limit it to DLive is for obvious copyright reasons. So let's get into it. Let's start at the beginning. So this is going to be less me like reporting on all the details of a story, and more like me as like a tour guide through through this dumpster fire that's been developing recently online. We're not going to talk too much about all the breaking news with Google and the online censorship and stuff. But we're just gonna, like I said, we're gonna have like a guided tour. I'm going to point out the window and say, "Hey, look at that flaming pile of garbage." What's up, ANCAP? Good to have you on the stream. We are at the end of the stream. Like I said, we're going to be exclusive on DLive for a presidential debate hangout. So we're going to shut down all the other streams and flip over to DLive at the end of this one. We're just going to cover this Ravelry story first. So let's get into it. Let me get all this crap out of the way. There we go. Okay, so Our tour begins with this tweet from Ravelry. We are banning support of Donald Trump and his administration on Ravelry. We cannot provide a space that is inclusive of all and also allow support for open white supremacy. More details, and they give you a link to their website. So who is Ravelry, you might ask? Well, they are a knitting and crocheting hobbyist website where people can go and find other people's patterns that they've created. They can create their own patterns and upload them to the site. That's it. It's like a hobby website for knitters and crocheters. And they have decided to come out with an extremely political stance. This is their website. I'm gonna quickly kind of read through this because, again, we got 13 minutes left until the debate starts and we need to flip the stream over. By the way, while you're waiting for that to start, join our Discord server if you want to hang out. We're going to bring the voice on the stream to hang out with us this evening for the presidential debate. Okay, so here's Ravelry's new policy. Do not post in support of Trump or his administration. We are banning support of Donald Trump and his administration on Ravelry. This includes support in the form of forum posts, projects, patterns, profiles, and all other content. Note that your project data will never be deleted. We'll never delete your Ravelry project data for any reason, and if a project needs to be removed from the site, we'll make sure that you have access to your data. If you are permanently banned from Ravelry, you will still be able to access any patterns that you purchased. Also, we will make sure that you receive a copy of your data. We cannot provide a space that is inclusive of all and also allow support for open white supremacy. Support of the Trump administration is undeniably support for white supremacy. Support of the Trump administration is undeniably support for white supremacy. Policy notes. You can still participate if you do in fact support the administration. You just can't talk about it here. We're not endorsing the Democrats nor banning Republicans. We are definitely not banning conservative politics. Hate groups and intolerance are different from other types of political positions. We are not banning people for past support. Do not try to weaponize this policy by entrapping people who do support the Trump administration into voicing their support. Similarly, antagonizing conservative members for their unstated positions is not acceptable. And then they ask people to help them flag unacceptable projects. Basically, these are like people, like little old ladies and whatever, that have like created, little knitted scarf patterns that say Trump or MAGA on them. And they're going on a full-on SJW jihad against this stuff. And, if you look at Twitter, I mean, the comments, the internet does not fail us ever. They're gold. One of my favorites is, "You're a glorified yarn forum? Sit down." So the next part of this, because there's a narrative here. Remember, we're still on the bus, and we're driving, we're going somewhere. So we're going to move on down the road, and I'm going to point out this next thing. There's this guy commenting on the same tweet called The Wizard, and that name rang a bell, and I couldn't put my finger on it until later when it dawned on me. But, he says, "We did the same thing at RPGnet, and it was absolutely the right decision." And then he said, "I was reading their announcement and thought, wow, this sounds really familiar." And then I got the citation and was filled with joy. And RPGnet rang a bell because years ago, I was a avid Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game player, and RPGnet has been around forever, and it used to be the world's largest forum for RPG players. They apparently, this is RPGnet, it's just a forum where people talk to each other about RPG stuff, and they review new content that comes out for role-playing games. That's all it is. But apparently, this is the Wizard guy that was talking on Twitter, and this is him in real life, and he and the other admins and moderators of RPGnet wrote this new policy that you can see was basically just copy-pasted from there to Ravelry. This is the actual source of the words that Ravelry chose to use for their complete banning of any discussion of President Trump because it's synonymous with being a Nazi, a white supremacist. What did they say? It was the words. We cannot support of the Trump administration is undeniably support for white supremacy. Basically, the exact same discussion here. So, if you go look at this forum, again, the internet does not fail. They delete most of the dissenting opinions from this forum because they're so glass-hearted and incapable of processing dissenting opinion without thinking that it's literal violence. But in this case, there's this one comment by the Wizard, a reply actually. It was kind of an innocent question from one of the RPGnet users that said, "Can we show support of some specific action taken by the administration if it does not relate to the policy areas indicated above, racism, and does not reflect an overall support of the president or the administration?" This is just creepy stuff. Sure. Just be careful which one you pick. And then another user said, I definitely agree with this, but having a strong, so it's come to this reaction. Basically, a bunch of people were like, "Oh no, this is retarded, I'm leaving," obviously. And then a whole lot of other people were like, "This makes me feel icky, but I support you because I think it's the right thing." Like, people, it made them feel uncomfortable, it made them feel uneasy, and they still chose to support their, echo chamber. So, the point I wanted to make about these two sites is, actually, the first point I want to make is that this is the first time that we've seen like being straightforward. And in a way, I kind of appreciate that. At least we know precisely where we stand with RPGnet and Ravelry. Isn't that kind of refreshing? Haven't we just spent like the last 6 years getting like shadow banned and down, what do they call it, deboosted, and, you know, not wondering why reach isn't what it is for other people, and not knowing what the rules are, and having the rules applied completely inconsistently? Like, isn't it just refreshing to have a company say, look, we disapprove of Trump, don't talk about him on our site? Like, it's kind of, well, it's kind of retarded and childish, but in a way it's not. In a way it's adult. In a way it's just like, look, this is my website, these are my servers, I don't want that here. It's like exerting private property rights. I kind of appreciated that. At least, thank you for at least being straightforward, because now the consumers can make clear decisions based on actual evidence and things that you've said, you know, front and center. I at least appreciate that much. I think it's dumb and I won't be a member of these sites because of it. Not because I support Trump or white supremacy, but, you know, this is just, that part of it's immature. Another thing that I found while I was digging through RPGnet is their policies that they use to moderate speech. Let me check the time. Oh, crap, we got 5 minutes. We got to hurry. Is, because this has a plot twist at the end that is interesting. Their policy, their rules are very, very clear. You cannot carry out personal attacks or group attacks. You cannot attack a person or a group, you know, the collective, right? You can't call all white people something. Well, I don't know. I bet they'd let you get away with that on here. You can't call all black people something, or all Democrat. You can't attack a group. But then apparently that policy started feeling icky for them. They literally, you can see this post here, they made a carve out for a specific group of people that they don't like. Customs Enforcement, or ICE. After consultation between the staff, we've realized a strong majority of us are no longer willing to mod group attacks. That means censor group attacks against immigrations and customs enforcement. This is not an open license for revenge porn or personal attacks on specific posters, but we aren't going to pretend anymore that they're written, or that they're within the bounds of civility, or that they deserve to be treated as if they were. If you don't understand the basis for this policy, read the news, ignorant pleb. If you have read the news and still think we need to clarify why we've done this, please find a qualified professional to administer a Voight-Kampf examination at your earliest opportunity. In conclusion, if you support ICE at this point, you would have called the Gestapo on the people surreptitiously moving into your neighbor's attic and huffed that you were only following the law. So, this is just another wonderful example of a liberal contradiction where, you know, we don't allow group attacks here. We're inclusive. Oh, sorry, you can group attack the people that we deem it's okay to group attack, and we're completely exclusive of people that we label as bad. So that's RPGnet. And it just kind of, you know, got me looking and poking. Again, we're back in the bus and we're driving on because we only have a few minutes left. RPGnet is owned by a company called Skotos, which is just, I think, one dude's company. This is Skotos. These are a bunch of websites that, you know, look like they're right out of the 90s for some reason. Maybe they want it that way. Skotos is just this one dude's company. Who's the dude? Well, that's Christopher Allen. So he owns a couple websites like RPGnet. So it's interesting that, you know, he allows his site to be administrated this way, or maybe, you know, I think more likely he preferred it to be administrated this way. But let's find out a little bit more about Christopher Allen, because, you know, this is just how I do my research. And something surprised me. This is his blog. Christopher Allen. Let's look at his little business card over here. Principal architect at Blockstream. Who is Blockstream, might I ask? Who is Blockstream? Oh, they're just kind of like the largest group of contributors or coders involved, or probably the best way to say it would be like one of the most involved groups at writing the code behind Bitcoin. Oh, interesting. So the principal architect at Blockstream, what you could also say is like the principal group working on Bitcoin is down with his company having these very, very politically oriented and censorious policies. So this is Blockstream. And I tweeted all of the people involved. This guy, Blockstream, RPGnet, everybody involved, asking, for a statement. How do you feel about this guy's involvement in political censorship in his company as your principal architect at Blockstream? No response, of course. I don't know how they'd touch that one with a 10-foot pole, but Blockstream being all about creating this, one currency for everybody, cryptocurrency. Kind of scary that one of their people involved is okay with political censorship. I would think that they at least have a statement about that. And I'm a little curious why they would let somebody that holds those kinds of opinions work on something that's supposed to be for everybody. I wonder if their influence grows, if it will become a problem for Bitcoin. Hopefully the network will prevent them from gaining that kind of control. So that was interesting. This is me asking for a statement and not getting one. And then, do we have time? No, it's already 8 o'clock. We don't really have time. This is an essay that he wrote that, maybe, check us out for the presidential debate. If we have some downtime in the debate, we'll flip back over here because there's 2 more things. I want to read this article written by this Nathan Easton wizard dude. It really lays out how these Marxists think about a few things, as well as introducing some terms that I had not heard before. One of them is called sea lioning. So if you're not familiar with what sea lioning is, maybe stick around for the debate live stream. And then the last thing I want to talk about is this meme. Everywhere you see people objecting to the so-called quote-unquote inclusiveness of these companies that are expressly being censorious or exclusive, they post this meme, and I think it bears some discussion. So I'm going to briefly pause the stream. I'm going to shut down all of the streams except for DLive, and then we're going to cut on over to the presidential debate that should be starting right about now. So the only place that you will see this stream here in a couple seconds is our DLive page. Let me pull that up for you quickly. It is dlive.tv/Disenthrall. So that is the address right there. The only place that you will see this stream. We're streaming. All right. So, and if you need the link specifically, you can go to our webpage, disenthrall.me/platforms. And on there, you can see a DLive link. So I'm not even going to stop this stream. I'm just going to try and turn off everything but DLive, and we will be back in 1 moment. Stick around. And make sure you switch over to DLive so we don't lose you.